Welcome back. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law, Windshield Time. Now, I apologize. Last time the sound was off from the video a little bit, and I didn't notice that until late. So it was, I imagine, horrible to watch. I hope that isn't the case this time. If it is, I have some figuring things out to do that I will have to do. One of the subjects I said we were going to talk about later this week, and it is later this week, is whether or not you are required to wear a mask. City ordinances may require a mask in some places, and we'll talk about that because the real quick answer is it depends. The more complicated answer is it depends. So for those of you who don't know, the city of Columbia passed a mask ordinance, Columbia, Missouri, requiring everybody to wear a mask due to the whole COVID crisis. Now, there are a number of exceptions to that. If you have any health issues that would prevent you from being able to wear a mask, you don't have to wear one. I can go through and list off all those ordinances, all those exceptions. You know, if a cop asks you to take your mask off, then you can take your mask off. You know, if requested by a medical provider or emergency response personnel. If you're in a business, commercial, or office space and not within 6 feet of any other person, you don't have to wear a mask. But you do have to wear one when moving about the building. Now, this is all from the Columbia ordinance, not any of the others that may be out there. So this only applies to the city of Columbia. And this information was posted online by one of the Eagle radio stations. So you can go and look it up there. I didn't even summarize it. You know, they've got a whole list of outdoor activities. If you are running, exercising, things like that, you don't have to wear a mask. And that's fine. The city of Union, Missouri, or the town of Union, Missouri, had proposed a mask ordinance, and they were all hot and heavy to do it, and then it died on the vine. And the population said, oh, well, that's a good thing. They listened to us and they let it die. Well, no. See, we have a law that allows cities of 75,000 or more that have their own health department to enter these rules. Otherwise, the rule has to come from the county health department. Union, Missouri doesn't have the authority to pass that mask ordinance. Okay, the health department in the county in which Union is located has the authority to enter that ordinance, but the town of Union does not. So I'm in Kirksville. The city of Kirksville does not have the authority to enter a mask ordinance. Adair County Health Department does. So if the city were to overstep its bounds and enter a mask ordinance, that ordinance is void. The city doesn't have the authority to do it. Now, realistically, what would happen when we challenge it? Well, to challenge it, you're either going to challenge it and seek an injunction barring them from doing it, and you'll file it. It may happen. You may get your preliminary injunction, and then the county health official enters his own order with the same thing, and the effect is the same. You spent your money, you won your point, congratulations, you still have to wear a mask. So some arguments you can win, but it's pointless. Wearing a mask in public, if it has been made an ordinance by a city of more than 75,000 people, and those are actually rather limited in the state of Missouri, it's going to be a situation where you're probably going to have to follow the ordinance. Now, those ordinances are also going to have a lot of loopholes, and realistically, the loopholes eat, or the exceptions eat the ordinance. Okay? Any health condition? Well, my son has asthma. He can't wear a mask. His oxygen saturation level dropped extremely fast, and it is, in my opinion, quite dangerous for him. And yes, that isn't something that we pulled from the internet. For those of you that want to say, but science, we brought him to his doctor, and this was tested in his doctor's office by his doctor. He cannot wear a mask. Period. That discussion's over. So, is my son supposed to have to explain this to any Karen on the street that wants to yell at him for not wearing a mask? Now we fall into the ADA issues. Okay? He doesn't need to explain his disability to any Tom, Dick, and Harry that demands an explanation. And the stores that are saying a mask is required or you can't come in, they may well be endangering themselves, placing themselves at risk of being sued. And there are suits out there right now that are currently pending. There's the KOA suit in Maryland. There's a suit in Pennsylvania. And remember, ADA issues are federal. So, what will happen? Gosh, I don't know. Some people will argue that you absolutely have to stay home if you are unable to wear a mask for medical reasons. And again, I ask why. We make accommodations for physically disabled. We make accommodations for mentally disabled. Unless, of course, their disability is PTSD because they were gagged and raped violently. In that case, you don't give a crap about their disability. The real issue here is masks in public. If it doesn't hurt you personally and physically or mentally, if it really doesn't hurt you, it's not really a bad idea. If it has no effect, it has no effect. On the off chance that maybe they're right, that mask will help slow the spread, does it hurt? Again, probably not. However, what does hurt is the government mandating of it. That is part of a slippery slope of loss of rights. Now, I know this is where we get into that pesky discussion where your right to not wear a mask does not trump my right to be free of your spreading this illness. And there's no real nice answer there, except that every person is responsible for themselves, ultimately. Unless you're a parent, you're responsible for your kids. So, I'm not saying, first, legality. There is a legal basis for mask ordinances. It goes back more than 100 years. Do I believe the case was decided incorrectly? I do. I think it was a violation of individual rights and liberties. And I think that at the time, they didn't really care as much about rights and liberties as we do now. But what I think isn't the issue. It's what the court thinks. In that case was decided that the state of Massachusetts and Jacobson could mandate that you take a vaccination. Free mandatory vaccination. You had to have it. We won't mandate vaccinations now. So they're using Jacobson to justify mask ordinances and justify public health crises. And it's a good legal argument. It really is, to support that position. But it comes down to, is it right? Now, some of you know this, some of you don't. I am a libertarian at heart. Okay, I believe that the individual is the ultimate source of responsibility. Like, I think that you are responsible for yourself, and you are responsible for taking care of yourself. I don't believe that's the government's job. I think common welfare has been stretched to the point where it's no longer identifiable. So has interstate commerce. However, we work with the laws the way they are, not the way we want them to be. So, as a lawyer, I can sit here and I can say that I believe that there should be no laws restricting any form of narcotics. And if you want to go purchase a pound of cocaine and snort yourself to death, man, that's up to you. Have at it. If you want to drop some acid and sit in the backyard and talk to the ants, hey man, go for it. Pop some magic mushrooms and have a conversation with the door because it's telling you you can't walk through it. I've heard that happens. Hey, again, go for it. It's your body, man. It's your substances. It's your money, and it's your life. That's your decision. However, the laws as they are in our country are that you cannot do that. I shall work to change those laws. I think that they are inappropriate. I think they're wrong. I think they're an infringement on personal liberties. But we have to follow them, and that's where we are. In this case, there is a legal basis for wearing masks. There is actually a pretty strong basis that states can infringe upon your liberties when the governmental interests are compelling, and that's the least invasive manner to do so. Okay, that means that if the government has compelling government interest, and what they're doing is the least restrictive manner to meet that compelling government interest, the government can take away all your rights. They can take away your right to speak. They can take away your freedom of religion. They can take away your Second Amendment rights. Okay? They can strip all those rights away if they have a compelling government interest and they're using the least restrictive means. Okay? And understand, we've got different levels of scrutiny for different rights. But when we're talking about fundamental rights, you can still be stripped of your fundamental rights if the government can explain to the court why they should, and that they had a good reason, and that they're using the least restrictive means to do so. And of course, they have to do it fairly. You can't take away the rights of one group of people over another group of people. You can't violate a protected class. But do I like that? The answer is no. But one of our Supreme Court justices famously said, the Constitution is not a suicide pact. Again, we'll defer to that wisdom, even though I actually personally think that, you have every right to commit suicide. It's your body and it's your life. So that's where we are. Mask, most likely, probably going to be legal for the mask ordinance. Does that mean it's a fight you shouldn't have? Well, it really comes down to whether or not you can afford to piss the money away and not have a good resolution at the end of the day, because I think you'll probably be disappointed. Now, for the counties, that's what we're talking about. County Health Department can enter that order. When we get to the cities, we know that municipalities with population greater than 75,000 that have their own health department can issue those orders. But municipalities under 75,000 cannot. And once again, if you're in the city of under 75,000, Kirksville hasn't attempted to pass a mask ordinance. I think they understand that they don't have the authority to. City of Union, Town of Union, whatever you want to call it, did attempt to. Look at their population. They most likely did not have the authority to do so. And they let it die. Right now you can't see it, but I'm just kind of like holding my hands up like that, What do you do? So, masks, there's a basis in law. I'm only talking about Missouri. Your state will have different state laws and different structures for that. Your state may allow every board of aldermen or town council in the state to enter its own order. Your state may restrict that to solely the State Department of Health. I don't know. You'll have to look that up for yourself. In Missouri, we've got a lot of free reign, but it is not unlimited. So that is that. And apparently I've been told that I need to be asking you guys to like, subscribe at the beginning of the episodes instead of the end. So if you're still here, hit like, subscribe. Drop a comment. I'd like to hear what your thoughts on the mask ordinances are. I think a lot of you are like me, probably have more of a libertarian approach where it's an unnecessary government infringement. You take care of yourself, I'll take care of myself, I'll be happy. So, thank you very much for watching, and you have a good day.